There was once a quiet little village surrounded by tall mountains and endless fields of golden grass. Travelers who passed by often said it was the most peaceful place they had ever seen. The houses were neat, the gardens were spotless, the streets were quiet, and the people always smiled. But anyone who stayed long enough felt something strange in the air, a tension that didn't match the beauty of the place. There was a heaviness behind the smiles, a silence that didn't feel peaceful, but forced, as if the entire village was holding its breath. In that village, everyone wore a mask, not a physical one made of cloth or wood, but a mask of behavior. They hid their sadness, they hid their anger, they hid their insecurities, they hid their dreams. They hid their true selves so deeply that even they forgot what honesty looked like. Children learned from a young age to act a certain way, speak a certain way, and never, ever show too much emotion. Crying was seen as weakness. Asking questions was considered disrespectful. Being different was viewed as dangerous, and so the village lived in quiet uniformity. Every morning, the villagers would step outside their homes with perfectly calm expressions. They greeted each other politely. They worked without complaint. They avoided conflict at all costs. If someone felt pain, they hid it. If someone felt joy, they softened it so no one would be jealous. Life looked peaceful from the outside, but inside each heart lived a collection of unsaid words, suppressed feelings, and dreams buried under fear. Among these people lived a curious child named Myra. Myra was 8 years old, sharp-eyed, and unusually observant. She noticed things that others didn't. She noticed how adults smiled with their mouths, but not with their eyes. She noticed how her mother wiped tears secretly when she thought no one was watching. She noticed how her father clenched his hands whenever he wanted to express something but held it back. She noticed how her teacher's voice trembled even when she acted confident. Myra sensed the storm that lived silent inside every person in the village. But unlike the others, Myra didn't know how to pretend. She laughed loudly. She cried openly. She asked questions without fear. She spoke whatever was in her heart. People liked her innocence, but they whispered among themselves that she would eventually learn how things work. Her parents tried to teach her the rules gently. You must not ask too many questions, her mother warned. You must not show too much emotion, her father added. People will misunderstand you. Myra listened, but it didn't make sense to her. Why would anyone want to hide how they truly felt? One evening, the village gathered in the central square for a ceremony celebrating unity and harmony. Every person wore a proud expression. Every family stood straight and proper. The air was filled with the sound of soft music and rehearsed speeches. Myra walked beside her parents, holding her mother's hand, but her eyes were scanning the crowd. She noticed something she had never seen so clearly before. Every smile looked like it hurt. Every cheerful gesture felt heavy. It was as if the entire village was wearing the same invisible mask. Myra tugged on her mother's hand. Why is everyone pretending? Her mother froze. A shadow passed through her expression before she forced a smile. No one is pretending, sweetheart. This is how we celebrate. But everyone looks sad. Myra insisted. A few people nearby glanced in their direction with disapproving eyes. Myra's mother squeezed her hand. Quiet, Myra. This is not the place. But Myra didn't stop watching. As the leader of the village stepped forward to give a speech about unity, Myra noticed his hand shaking. She noticed the way he kept clearing his throat, trying to keep his voice steady. She noticed the stiffness in his jaw as he forced a smile. She whispered again to her mother, "Why does he look afraid?" Her mother shushed her, but it was too late. A few villagers had heard the question. Later that night, at home, Myra asked her parents again, "Why does everyone hide who they are? Why do they act like they're happy when they're not?" Her father sighed heavily. Because that's how we keep peace. If everyone showed their true feelings, everything would fall apart. Myra frowned. But everything already looks like it's falling apart. Her mother looked away, unable to answer. Over the next few days, Myra couldn't stop thinking about what she had seen. She watched the villagers more closely than ever. She saw the baker pause to massage his temples when no one was looking. She saw the woman who sold flowers wipe tears from her eyes before customers arrived. She saw workers smile politely at each other while carrying exhaustion in their bodies. She saw children biting their lips whenever they wanted to cry, swallowing their emotions as if they were swallowing stones. Myra felt a sadness she couldn't name. She didn't understand why a village so beautiful felt so broken. One morning, she made a decision. She walked into the center square, climbed onto the edge of the stone fountain, and took a deep breath. Villagers looked at her with confusion. Children stopped playing. Adults paused their conversations. Myra raised her voice enough for everyone to hear. Why does everyone hide who they really are? Silence fell instantly. The air thickened. Some villagers laughed nervously, thinking it was a child being silly. Others frowned, sensing danger. Her parents rushed forward, horrified. Myra, get down at once. But she didn't move. She looked around at all of them, men, women, elders, children, each holding a part of themselves like a locked box. She asked again, but softer this time, "Why are you all pretending to be fine?" A murmur rippled through the crowd. No one answered. No one dared. But then something unexpected happened. An old woman, known for her strictness, whispered, "Because we were taught to." A man beside her added, "Because showing the truth scares people." Another woman said, "Because we don't want to burden anyone." Someone else murmured, "Because no one ever asked before." It was as if Myra had cracked open a wall that had stood for generations. One villager stepped forward and said, "If I stop pretending, people won't respect me." Another said, "If I show I'm hurting, people will think I'm weak." A mother admitted, "I smile all day because I don't want my children to worry." A young man confessed, "I don't even know who I am without pretending." The truth poured out like water breaking through a dam. Myra listened, her heart heavy but hopeful. She said gently, "But you're all hurting even while pretending. Doesn't that hurt more?" Her words struck like lightning. People looked at each other, seeing honestly for the first time in years. The masks they had worn for so long suddenly felt heavy, suffocating. The village leader stepped forward. His voice trembled. "Child, what do you think we should do?" Myra looked at him with innocent clarity. "Tell the truth. Even if it's scary." The villagers stood frozen. Truth, they had forgotten what that felt like. Then the old woman who had spoken earlier took a deep breath and said, "I'm tired of pretending." Her voice wavered, but she didn't look away. The baker whispered, "So am I." The flower seller wiped her eyes without hiding it. A man who had never shown emotion swallowed hard and nodded. One by one, they began to speak honestly. "I feel lonely. I feel scared. I feel angry. I feel lost. I feel exhausted. I feel invisible." And then, slowly, "I want to be myself. I want to stop hiding. I want to breathe. I want to live." Tears flowed. Shoulders shook. But for the first time, the village wasn't quiet. It was alive. Myra stood among them, small but powerful, like a single candle lighting a room full of darkness. She didn't say anything else. She didn't need to. Her question had done what generations of silence could not. It opened the locked doors inside people's hearts. In the days that followed, the village changed. People began speaking honestly in small ways at first. A mother admitted when she was overwhelmed. A father apologized for not listening. Friends shared fears without shame. Couples expressed emotions they had buried for years. Even the children learned that being human was not something to hide. The village became noisier: laughter, crying, arguments, healing, conversations, but it finally felt real. And whenever someone asked how the change started, the answer was always the same. A child asked why.